A spider cake. Yes, today we are creating a fondant spider on top of a egg sack cake. This looks pretty cool, so let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome to Koalipops. My name is Jeff Daniels. Let's get to this cake. Now to start this cake, I'm starting with a 10-inch round cake, and then the rest of the cakes that I'm adding to the top of this come from one doll cake. Now, I love using my doll cake pan, especially when I'm able to use it creatively for something other than a doll cake. And this was perfect. Now, this cake is actually inspired by the movie Arachnophobia, which is a 90s movie that I used to watch in high school. It was really scary back then. Not so much now, because now I can tell that the big spider was sometimes a puppet. But before, that was the biggest, realest spider I've ever seen in my life. Now, I'm cutting away the sides of my cake and I'm creating an egg shape for my egg sack. That's the shape I initially went with, but I thought that it was too symmetrical, and so I'm just carving chunks away of the sides. Now this is where my cake scraps came into play. I'm just mushing all of my cake scraps into cake ball dough and then rolling them into circles with my hands. I cut these circles in half and then placed them onto the side of my cake. I wanted this to be a very lumpy looking spider egg sack. I wanted it to kind of look like a ton of spiders were trying to force their way out. I'm using as much cake ball dough as I can. Then I covered my entire cake with a single piece of white fondant. I love this part because usually when you cover cake with fondant, you're trying to smoothen everything out. But for this cake, I just was able to emphasize all of the lumps that I created. And I wanted this to look like spiders were bursting out of it. You know, there was time to hatch. So I cut a whole bunch of holes in my fondant, and I'm going to place a bunch of spiders here so it looks like this egg sack is hatching. Oh, Mama Spider is proud because all of her babies are coming out. Now I had two options with this cake. I could either make something extremely gory or I can make something colorful. And I decided to go with colorful, so I'm adding sprinkles. I added some buttercream at the opening so that the sprinkles would stick, and then I just flooded this whole thing with all of these expensive sprinkles. They were so expensive, you guys, so expensive, but they were worth it. After that, I just started to add all of my spiders. Look at them, just bursting out of this egg sack, walking around, discovering the world for the first time. I see you, nature, doing your thing on this egg sack. After that, it was time to work on Mama Spider. Initially, I was gonna go with a charcoal gray spider, but because I loved all the colors on the sprinkles, I decided to give Mama Spider some color too. So I'm painting her with some purple luster dust. And then I wanted to make this a little bit more playful, so I'm adding some white drip with some white candy melt. This candy melt design actually served two purposes that I'll explain later on in the video. Now I had to let Mama Spider sit for a little bit and dry, and I started to add some detail to my cake in the form of marshmallow spider webs, pink marshmallow spider webs. This was my first time doing it. I did a terrible job. But one of the problems I encountered with this was that when you're doing this with a flat cake, all of the marshmallow sticks to every part of the cake. But with these lumps, a lot of the marshmallow was just hanging in the wind like a spider web. And so when I started to apply all of my spider legs, they stuck to the spider legs and came off my cake entirely. But that's okay because you live and you learn. Once I finished with the marshmallow, I started to add Mama Spider to the top of my cake. Now I'm creating Mama Spider's legs in 3 different segments, glued together with white candy melts. The first and the last segments are being held in place with toothpicks, and the middle segment will be glued to the first and the last segment with white candy melts. There's probably an easier way to do this, but I didn't know how, and my cake isn't a uniform shape, so I had to make sure that the spider legs I was creating were adjustable. Now this is where the candy melts serve two purposes. I knew that I was going to be using them, and I knew that when I glued the legs together that you would see it, so I decided to incorporate it into my design. Which was such an awesome idea because Mama Spider is looking fierce. Now after gluing the legs together, I added a little bit more sprinkles, and voila, my spider cake was complete. I really do love this cake. It looks nothing like any of the other Halloween cakes I've created so far. Now I'm curious, you've seen me do 2 creepy crawlers this year. My brain cake and now my spider cake. Which type of Halloween cake do you prefer? Do you like gory or do you want something more colorful and playful? I like creating both, so it's up to you. What do you want me to create? I hope you guys enjoyed this. Happy Halloween. Happy early Halloween. I love you. I will see you very soon. Bye.